please subscribe to my channel. I can still hear the gravel crunching under the tires as my son and I pulled into the driveway that Sunday evening. The trip had been flawless, just Ryan and me under a sky full of stars, fishing by the lake, roasting marshmallows, and laughing long into the night. It was exactly what I needed. Time to breathe, time to bond with my boy, and a break from the suffocating tension that had been building inside our home. But the moment we stepped through the front door, something felt off. The air was thick, too still, as if the house itself was holding its breath. Ryan dashed upstairs to put away his things, and I headed toward the bedroom, calling out for my wife, Emily. Silence. When I opened the bedroom door, everything shifted. There she was, my wife, the woman I had shared 8 years of my life with, lying in our bed with another man. His shirt lay crumpled on the floor. Her hair was wild, disheveled. The smell of sweat and perfume hit me before my eyes fully registered the scene. For a brief moment, nobody moved. Emily's eyes went wide. Then, unbelievably, she yelled, "What are you doing here?" As if I were the intruder. I didn't shout. I didn't lunge. I stood frozen, hands still on the doorframe. The man scrambled for his pants, mumbling something about leaving, and brushed past me without so much as a glance. I heard the front door slam behind him. Then Emily turned to me. "This is your fault," she said. "You're never here. You spend more time camping or working late than with me. What did you expect?" The ground seemed to vanish beneath me. That wasn't remorse, not even a hint. It was blame. I had caught her in the act of betrayal, and somehow I was the one at fault. I left the room silently, hands trembling. Ryan came down the stairs, eyes wide. "Why do you look so pale?" he asked. I couldn't answer. I only said, "Go pack a bag, buddy. We're staying at Grandpa's tonight." At my father's house that night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Ryan slept, clutching the stuffed bear I had won at the fair just last month. My father didn't ask questions. He simply put a hand on my shoulder, sensing I wasn't ready to talk. By morning, my phone was flooded with messages from Emily. At first, they were angry, accusatory. "You abandoned me. You can't just take Ryan away like this. We need to talk." Hours later, her tone shifted. "It doesn't mean anything. We can work this out. You're overreacting. Please come home." Each message only fueled my anger. Overreacting? I had walked in on her cheating. How exactly was I supposed to react? Shake his hand. 3 days passed before I agreed to meet her. Not because I wanted to repair anything, but because Ryan deserved answers. We met at a coffee shop midway between my dad's house and ours. Emily walked in perfectly composed, as if she were the victim, and this was just another trivial marital dispute. She sat down, arms crossed, and said, "You've been so distant, Mark. You're always at work or doing your own thing. I've been lonely. Yes, I made a mistake, but what did you expect?" Her words cut deeper than the sight of her betrayal. She wasn't sorry. She was rewriting the story, casting herself as the wounded party and me as the villain. I asked a single question. If Ryan had walked in instead of me, would you still call it a mistake? She flinched, but didn't answer. That's when I realized no apology was coming. No real regret. If anything, she expected me to bear the weight of her choices, so she could feel absolved. When I left the cafe, I knew what had to be done. I wasn't going back. Not yet, maybe not ever. That evening, I returned to the house, not to stay, but to pack. Ryan deserved stability, and I couldn't provide it under the same roof as Emily. She was waiting, standing in the doorway, rehearsing her lines. "Mark, we can still save this marriage," she said softly. "For Ryan, for us." I walked past her without a word, heading straight to Ryan's room, folding his clothes carefully into a suitcase. She followed, her voice sharp now. "So that's it? You're just going to throw everything away for one mistake? What about the years we spent together?" I turned to face her, anger I kept buried all week rising to the surface. "You didn't make a mistake, Emily. You made a choice. Every text, every meeting, every lie, those were choices. You didn't just betray me. You risked destroying the one thing that still matters, Ryan's sense of safety. You want to blame me for being distant? Fine, but you could have talked to me. Instead, you opened the door to someone else. When I walked out with the suitcase, she finally broke down. Mark, please don't do this. I'll end it with him. We can start over. I paused at the threshold, taking the home we had built, the photos on the walls, the life we shared, and quietly, firmly said, you should have thought about starting over before I found you with him. Ryan and I drove away that night, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror. I didn't know what the future held. Court dates, custody arrangements, maybe a divorce lawyer. But for the first time in days, I felt something like peace. I knew one thing for certain. I wasn't letting Emily rewrite this story. This time, I was choosing my son, choosing my self-respect, choosing to walk away from a woman who blamed me for the fire she started. And that choice felt like freedom.